My apartment was nothing but a rec room, really, which the family above me rented out. The couch was a sleeper couch, still folded out from last night. The only other furniture was a platform rocker and slick red vinyl that stuck to me in the summer and turned clammy in the winter. My stove was a 2-burner hot plate, my bathroom a rust-stained sink, and toilet partitioned off in one corner. Shower privileges upstairs. Well, I make it sound worse than it was. I think I was just at a low point that New Year's Eve. I noticed my answering machine was blinking and pressed a button. "Barnaby," my mother said, "we just wanted to say Happy New Year. Hope it's the start of good things for you. A whole new beginning." I flopped back in my bed. "Hope it's the end of all the trouble you've caused us," was what she was really saying. "Hope you'll meet a decent girl and find a job we're not embarrassed to tell the neighbors about. Hope you get your instructions from your angel, finally." Now, why did this next thought occur to me? Sophia Maynard? The woman on the train? I saw her gold hair, her feather coat, her bun that was not so unlike, it occurred to me now, a coiled braid. Suppose Sophia Maynard was my angel. She was wearing the feather coat again, and boots this time instead of last week's pumps. Would an angel wear quilted black nylon boots with white fluff around the tops? Well, no reason she couldn't. And she could wait in Penn Station reading a Baltimore Sun, too, while she was at it. The train drew up beside us, ding-dinging. Several people got off, and then a woman with a baby got on. Sophia followed her. I came next. It was unfortunate the car was almost empty. She would wonder why I didn't sit by myself. Well, too bad. Quick as a wink, I settled beside her. The train started moving. Sophia delved into a bag and came up with a newspaper folded open to the business page. Business? Lord above, I wondered why I was kidding myself. She wouldn't have any message for me. When Great-Granddad saw his angel, she lit the air of the wooden works. He wrote up his encounter in the form of an epic poem, A Providential Visitation, April 1898. Since then, the tradition was for all the Gatelyns to file reports on their angels. Sophia said, "Excuse me, please." She sidled out, bulky and wide-hipped, and vanished through the end door. Her newspaper was still in her seat. I checked to see what she'd been reading. Plans for a merger between two banks. She was probably some kind of financial wheeler-dealer. I looked toward the front of the car and saw Sophia stepping through the door holding a styrofoam cup of coffee. She paused next to me, and I jumped up and, oh, God, spilled the coffee all down her front. "Jeez," I said, I'm such an oaf." She started dabbing at the splotches on her coat. I could kick myself. It was nerves, I guess. I think I'm a little nervous, I told her. "Nervous? About a train trip?" I looked into her eyes. "Don't you know?" was the thought I sent her. But she gazed pleasantly, blankly back at me. I said, "I'm heading up to Philly to see my little girl on not my normal visitation day." "Oh," she said. "Well, I'm sure it will all work out." Was this an official prophecy? No, of course not. Get a grip, Gatelyn. I said, "Not only is it not my normal day, I'm not supposed to see her ever again. Last time I had car trouble and I got there late, and her mother claimed it broke her heart." "The trouble is," I said, for lack of any other subject, "what do I know about girls? Do you have any daughters yourself?" "Oh, no," Sophia said. "I'm not married, actually." I'd have been flabbergasted to hear she was, but I just said, "Well, at least you've been a little girl," though in fact I wasn't so sure. "Well, but I suspect I wasn't typical," she told me. "I was an only child." "Opal's an only child, too," I said. "Oh, sorry. My name's Barnaby Gatelyn." Sophia Maynard, she told me. Sophia, if you had your say, I said, what would you advise a guy in my general position to do about his life? I'd advise you to persevere, of course, she said. I can guarantee that no matter what, Opal wants to keep seeing her daddy. Oh, Opal, I said. But I don't have to tell you that, Sophia said. You're already on your way to visit her. Well, this visit was really just a random activity, so to speak, I said. Sometimes intuition is our truest guiding force. Don't you agree? Sophia said. Intuition? I said, paying close attention now. I'm going to tell you a story, Sophia said. I grew very still. 2 weeks ago, I went to visit my mother. I do that every week, but this time she was so fractious. I made her some tea, and she said, "This tea tastes moldy." And I said, "It's a new box. How could it taste moldy?" She said, "I don't know, but it does." I said, "Very well, Mother," and went out to buy more tea bags. But you know what I did? I kept walking till I came to 30th Street Station, and I hopped on a train and rode home. And all the way I was thinking, heavens, what have I done? Then something told me, this is what you were led to do, so it must be right. My point is, that evening Mother telephoned, which she almost never does. She has that old-time attitude toward long distance, and she said, "Sophia, I apologize. I don't know what got into me, and I promise that when you come next week, I'll watch my P's and Q's." True to her word, last Saturday she was an entirely different person. I couldn't figure out how this related to me. She must have sensed my disappointment, because she said, "You're shocked I would walk out on her like that." "I'm not a bit shocked," I told her. "I know all about these aged parents. The kind that want everything done for them, and the kind you can't do a thing for, and the humble, self-denying kind, and the cranky, picky, dissatisfied kind. I must have seen every existing model. They're who my company deals with, mostly." "What company is that?" Sophia asked. "Rent-a-back, it's called. We go around to people's houses, perform whatever chores they aren't quite up to." "Oh, what a valuable service." "Well, we try," I said. I wanted to look as good as possible. "How about you?" "I work in a bank, equity loan department." And while I was adjusting to this, she said, "Nothing like as helpful as what your company does. Would a client be able to get her groceries carried in? Little humdrum things like that?" "Oh, the humdrum is our specialty," I told her. "We operate just in Baltimore, though." "Oh, I was thinking about my Aunt Grace. She's in Baltimore, and you wouldn't believe how independent. But she's frail as a stick, has trouble with her bones." "Osteoporosis," I said knowledgeably. Then, trying to get back to the subject, I said, "But anyhow, you believe in intuition, that a person will just be led to the proper action?" "Absolutely," she told me. I put on an expression I hoped would seem receptive, but all she said was, "Tell me more about your company." So then I gave up and just went with the flow. In the terminal, she asked, "Does your daughter live nearby?" "Oh, yes, she's off Rittenhouse Square." "So's my mother. Shall we walk?" It hadn't occurred to me my actions would be observed at the other end of my trip. I'd assumed that once I reached Philadelphia, I would turn around and catch the next train home. I was dragging my heels, pondering how to get out of this. Suppose by some horrible coincidence Sophia's mother lived in Natalie's building. "Are you bringing your daughter a present?" she asked. "No," I said. This was such a sudden decision, I wouldn't have had the slightest idea what to get her anyhow. "You could have bought a stuffed animal. All little girls like stuffed animals." Sophia's pace had grown leisurely and wafting. I had a sense of being dragged backward. "When I was a little girl, my favorite toy was a stuffed raccoon named Ariadne. I liked the Greek myths and all that." She laughed, I looked at her then and knew for a fact that she was not my angel. She was a middle-class, middle-aged bank employee, and it showed what a sorry state my life had come to that I could have imagined otherwise, even for an instant. I stopped at the corner of 22nd Street and said, "Well, here's where I'll be." But Sophia turned down 22nd and kept walking. And who was walking toward us? Natalie, holding Opal's hand. It was Opal who spotted me first and ran to meet me. She said, "It's not true you're stopping your visits, is it? Mom said you weren't to come anymore. She said you talked it over and you'd be stopping your visits, but I know you wouldn't do that. You'd want to keep on seeing me, wouldn't you?" "Well, sure I would," I said. And Natalie said, "Oh, honey, of course he would. I didn't realize you would mind so much." Then a hand arrived on my arm. I turned and found Sophia smiling into my eyes. It was the most seraphic smile. "Goodbye, Barnaby," she said, and walked away. I never did explain her presence to Natalie. I honestly don't know what I would have said. My 30th birthday fell on a Monday, which was garbage day for more than half our clients. I hadn't gotten around to setting out their trash cans the night before because I'd indulged in this private little one-man birthday bash instead. So there I was, up before dawn in spite of myself. After I dealt with the trash cans, I went home and tried to sleep. When the telephone rang, I let the machine answer. First call, Mrs. Dibble wanted me to take the Cartwrights grocery shopping. Second call was my grandparents. "Barnaby, hon," my grandma said, "it's me and Pop, just wanting to wish you a—" I picked up the phone. "Gram," I said. "Well, hey there! Happy birthday! Hope you got plans to celebrate." "Oh, yeah. Well, yeah," I said in this vague sort of way, because I couldn't tell if they knew about the dinner Mom was fixing. Some years she invited them, but other years she thought up reasons not to. My grandpa had driven a laundry truck till poor vision forced his retirement, and Gram still clerked in a liquor store. God gave them, their wording, only one child, my mother, and they were very proud of her. But the feeling didn't seem to be mutual. The way the conversation ended was, I would see them later in the week. They had a little something for me. A book of coupons good for 6 takeout pizzas, I already knew. It was their standard birthday gift, and one I counted on. Then after I hung up, I called Mrs. Dibble because my conscience had started to bother me over the Cartwrights. They were the sort of couple who inched down the aisles, debating each and every purchase. They tended to feel rushed when somebody else took them shopping.